Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are we all doing on this Wednesday morning? This is Reganelite. Yeah, hello, everyone. Welcome to Good Morning with Reganelite and Prime Minister's Questions, a joint live stream. We'll be going for about hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on how long Prime Minister's Questions goes on for here. For those who are new to this show and new to this live stream, so what I normally do for the first hour before Prime Minister's Questions, we will look at today's daily quote, we will have a look at the weather, and then we'll have a look at some of the news. Today, we're going to be looking at global news, so we're not going to be looking at UK news specifically. We're going to be looking at what news is going on. Obviously, most of the stories will be around Iran, but there will be some other stories that will be worth looking into there. So we actually go to the websites like the Associated Press, Al Jazeera, Kiev Independent, as a couple of names there for reference, which we'll be looking at as well. And then just before 12 o'clock, we will switch over to Prime Minister's Questions. We'll watch along to PMQs, and I will give my thoughts and reactions to it as it goes along there. And we'll get to that, obviously. We'll get to that when it comes around to it there. Before I come to those in the chat, just a quick reminder of a couple of things. So my sincere apologies for people who watch the videos on Patreon and Rumble. I have not been able to record them. I don't know if I'm going to be able to record them this week at this point because we're already midway through. The reason why I didn't record them yesterday was because I spent most of the day yesterday recording Speaking My Mind episodes, which I mentioned in the morning, and I was also recording good news videos and funny videos because I needed to build a backlog of them for a couple of weeks, and I hadn't had any left, so I wanted to record them. I was going to record some main videos as well, but my breath gave up on me because I can only record so many videos in one day before my voice breaks out. So I'm sure you guys can understand that. I did record short videos for tomorrow and Friday. I'll be uploading them later onto the rest of the social media platforms, and they'll be available to members later on today once I have them done. Once I edit them and all that kind of stuff, yeah, they'll be done there. As for main videos, I don't know when I'm going to be recording them and putting them out because I don't want to I want to give it plenty of time because there's quite a lot there. I've got now 4 videos I wanted to put out, and I haven't had a moment to do that, guys. So again, I do apologize for that as well. The other problem I have as well is that I'm behind on wrestling content as well, which is really bad as well. So that's another thing that I don't need as well. So it's not been good. Let me put it that way for me lately. There. Let me just say hello to whoever's in the chat there as well before we get going. I should remind people before I go in the chat. So tonight there'll be a live stream at 8 o'clock for my watch along series. We'll be watching and reacting to certain clips and videos online. Do join me for that one. That I do actually. I do feel like I learn a lot more from that live stream than other ones because we catch on to things that we don't already there. And Davey's over a wee bit over with you soon. Oh, okay. I wasn't aware. I've been too busy this morning to join his live stream. So thanks for sharing that, Stephen Banker. Also tomorrow evening, myself and One Anchor Pagan with the Eco Flake show. And then Friday from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, there will be my 3-year anniversary show here. 3 years since I started as a YouTuber. That'll be on Friday at 3 o'clock. So if you could join me for that. Basically, we're going to be a fun, bubbly show. Nothing serious, guys. There. So if you want to join me for that before going into Friday Frolics with Daily Blase, you can do as well. So that's the plans for this week. There is a round table next week as well. That is on my list. I need to do is get another guest on. Yeah, my work is just piling up, guys. It's really not ideal. So Billy Kershaw, good morning to you. Good to see you there. Martin Brisk there. Good to see you as well. Cavaland, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Unquiet Badger, I see you there. Stephen Banker, one of our moderators. Good morning to you. Person, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. Ellie, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well there. Witchy Golf, good morning. Hope you are doing well, guys. Make sure you check out Witchy Golf's YouTube channel if you can. And on Twitch, we have Benjamin, good morning to you. And Charlie Mangan, good morning to you on Twitch there. Good morning, guys. Hope you are all doing well. Right, let's get today's daily quote out the way first and foremost. Here it is, guys. A nice one here for the 11th of March. If you can read it there. Here is today's daily quote here. And it says that there are two ways of spending... Sorry, no, I'm not reading it properly. There are two ways of spreading light. To be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. There are two ways of spreading light. To be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. It's very interesting. I like that one. That's a nice one there. Definitely different, that is for sure. Definitely different, that is for sure. I like tomorrow's one as well. Tomorrow's a nice one to be sharing. So I'm looking forward to sharing that one with you guys. Right, let's have a look at the weather. I don't know how much we'll spend on it. I don't know if we'll spend too much on it, but we'll see anyway. Let's have a look and see what's going on with the weather today. So for reference, for people who are wondering, this is the bbc.co.uk /weather map for reference here. And I've set it to today at 6 p.m. for reference as well there. So let's have a look at some of the temperatures here, starting with North America there. Very, very cold up in Canada there, as well as in Alaska there. We can see those temperatures still very, very cold. Not too much change in North America from in the rest of parts of of America there. We can see some of those temperatures there. Chicago at 3, Miami 29, San Francisco 15 respectively there. Looks like there's fair share of snowstorms there. Going a bit lower into Central America there. We got Kingston at 29, San Jose 28. Parts of South America there, very warm in some parts, and some a bit lower there. La Paz at 13, Rio de Janeiro at 25 there, with a fair share of tropical rainstorms there. We can see in those temperature gauges there. In terms of Africa here, got temperatures as high as 30 to 29 degrees, and some as low as 19 in some parts on there. Agis Abaruha at 17 there, respectfully there. Going a bit further on to Auckland and Wellington, New Zealand, there, the temperatures there. Australia there, temperatures as high as 27 in Darwin and as low as 12 in Hobart and 14 in Melbourne, Brisbane 20 there. Going a little bit further up, we can see the very, very warm temperatures here, with Singapore at 26, Bangkok 29, Philippines there at 24, Taiwan's it's at 15 degrees, Shanghai 7, Beijing 3, Tokyo 4 there. Respectfully. Going a bit further over, New Delhi there at 23 degrees. Going a bit over into the Middle East. Tehran is at 8, Baghdad 17, Kuwait City 20 there, Port Sudan 24, Cairo 18 there. Looking at our friends over in Iceland, they've got themselves a nice snowstorm there, very cold at 1 degrees. Unfortunately, you did miss the quote, Mel, if you've only just joined. Good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. You have to zoom it back if you want to know. You have to come out of the live and scroll back if you want to know what it is, unfortunately now. Unless someone remembered it in the chat. There. Good morning, Scott Hayes. Hope you are doing well. Christina, good morning to you. Peter, good morning to you. Leapskin, good morning to you. I'm assuming Dave has finished his live stream because people have said he went a bit over, which is fine. You know, it's all good. Hope he's doing well. I hope you guys are all doing well as well. So let's look at temperatures in Europe. Madrid 14, Lisbon 17, Tripoli 16 there, Tunis 15, Parmelo and Rome 13 respectively there, with the south of France, Nice at 15. Looks like it's a bit of a rain and a possible some snow in the Swiss French Alps up there at 11 degrees we can see there. Paris there at 10 degrees. Going a bit more further over, we got Athens there at 14, Tarija at 13 there. Istanbul, capital Turkey there, a bit chilly at 8 degrees there. Bucharest 7, Chistu 8, Kiev 8, Warsaw 11, Prague 11, Vienna 15, Berlin 13 there. It's mainly dry in Europe, very, very dry. It seems like a bit of a dry day for most of Europe again. With some temperatures, and here in Eastern Europe, it's not too bad, these temperatures. It could be a lot worse. Kiev is still cold at 8 degrees, but not as bad as it has been during the winter periods there. Moscow and Volgograd 4 and 4 respectively there, and St. Petersburg at 4 there. And you got Oslo there at 4 degrees. Zoom in a little bit further, we've got Brussels there at 9 degrees as well. Thank you so much, Peter, for the £2 super chat just to get the party started. Thank you so much, my friend. That's four more to go to get today's super chat goal. We'll also be covering Prime Minister's questions after the Good Morning show as well, guys. So if you guys want to check out Prime Minister's questions later, you can stick around here on this feed. Good morning, Rosemary, as well. Hope you are doing well there. No worries. It's there. Booming Pip stressing me out again. I'm sorry to hear that, Witchy Goth. I'm sorry. Let's have a look a bit more at the weather before we go into some of the news. Let's have a look specifically here in the UK. So this is what temperatures are gauging right now within the next hour or so. So most of the UK should be dry where you are. There might be a few scattered showers, but most of it should be dry, depending on where you are there. But you can see temperatures as high as 12 and some as low as 9. If we scroll it a bit further over here, you can see there's a bit of rain going to be piling up a bit more. If you're living in the bit more in the north of Scotland there, in central parts there, you may even encounter some snow there, unfortunately. So please be aware of that. Going a bit more into the evening there, that's not going anywhere there. And you see the temperatures are going to drop a little bit here. We can see tonight 7, 8, 9 degrees here. Overnight here, they're not going to be too bad, I would say. But yeah, this rain going to be coming overnight in Scotland there. Maybe a little bit in Wales, but overnight really it's going to be pretty dry. And the temperatures aren't too bad overnight, to be fair, for Wednesday night into Thursday morning, actually. Yeah, those temperatures aren't going to be too bad at all. You can definitely get away without putting on the heating. Thursday morning, temperatures at 10, 12 and 9 degrees with this ugly rainstorm we have here coming all over Scotland as well as over Northern Ireland. Looks like some of it is simmering into the north of England there, and there is some rain showers in parts of Wales there as well, sadly. Going a bit further into lunchtime here, that is going to be pushing. It's still going to be there at lunchtime, and as well some of that rain forecast is going to be still in parts of Wales. And if we push it a bit further over here, a bit more in the afternoon, you can see again it's pushing itself away from Scotland, this storm, down into parts of northern England as it heads towards the Midlands and most of Wales there. There is still going to be some showers and snow in the afternoon in Scotland there. You can see there, if I could push it a bit further over, the temperatures are really dropping for Thursday evening in Belfast and Edinburgh there, 6 and 5 degrees in comparison to Manchester, Cardiff and London there at 12 and 11. There's a big stark contrast in temperatures here. I can see this big snow blist out there and we're in the middle of March. This is very unusual here. Going a bit further over here for Thursday evening, this is what we're expecting. Again, those temperatures are dropping again. So Thursday night, guys, especially if you're in Scotland, Northern Ireland, please be aware Thursday night you're going to get really, really cold temperatures. Please be careful of that. There will be some snow forecast as well. As for where I am in London, I'll definitely be experiencing some of the rain overnight going there. And yeah, it's going to be showering down overnight. Looking at Friday night, yeah, you can see these temperatures 3 degrees. So yeah, overnight, Thursday night into Friday morning, you can see these temperatures going to be very cold indeed for certain parts. Won't be so bad where I am, but in most parts of the UK there, we can see it's going to be very, very cold. 3 degrees. Not as cold as it's been during. There have been colder parts in January, February, and December, which we've experienced, but it's still going to be cold nonetheless for March, which is very problematic indeed. But if I scroll it to Friday, 9 o'clock in the morning, these are what some of the temperatures, with some snow expected to fall in parts of the UK. How much of that settles remains to be seen there. And then temperatures will pick it back up at lunchtime at 7, 8 degrees. So the temperatures will come back up for Friday there. If I pull it a bit further on to Friday evening, 5, 6, 7, 7, 6, 7. So it's going to remain quite chilly. So please be aware of that as well. I'll come to the chat in a moment there, so bear with me, Viper Scott, because I just want to cover Saturday and then we'll leave it there and we'll go into the news here. Just going a bit more further into Saturday, we'll just have a quick look at what Saturday's expecting here. It's going to be another very cold night, Friday night into Saturday morning here. Saturday lunchtime, though, temperatures will pick back up to 7, 8, 9, and some even 10 degrees there. Mainly a dry Saturday. So it looks like Saturday we're going to get a bit of a dry day. Might get some showers depending on where you're living. But most of it looks like it's going to be dry there for Saturday. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be dry for Saturday there. So that's a good thing that we're going to be getting in D. Let me scroll a bit further back up here. Hammery, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for joining. Much appreciated there. I hope you have a good day, whatever your plans are. Thank you. I do appreciate people saying hello. To anyone I haven't said hello to, I'll check down in a moment. Viper Scott, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. He's given gifted memberships to Andrew Luke, Dr. Stu, a Viking Bear President. Ah, yes, Stu Viking Bear President. I'm familiar with that name as well. Mr. T-Mail there, and Phillips, I think, and Technocrat Tinery News. I'm sure I've heard that name as well. Thank you to all the Thank you, Viper Scott, for gifting all those new members there. Definitely, some of those names do sound familiar to me. So thank you for that generosity. Much appreciated there. Viper Scott, again, thank you so much. That's very, very kind of you for the £2 super chat. All hail DPR, Ollie and the Quackers. Yes, the gang are here. Yeah, all the gang are here. Don't worry, the gang are here. They're going to be watching everything very, very closely indeed. That is for sure. Thank you so much for that super chat. Very much appreciated. Right, let's go into the news, guys, because I know that's what we're here for. I did say, for those who weren't here at the start, we're going to be looking at world news. And then just before 12 o'clock, we're going to switch into Prime Minister's questions. And we will see what's going to happen with PMQs, because it's going to be an interesting one indeed. You know, there's been lots of significant developments since then. I wonder if the Conservatives are still sticking with their position of we should be on the offensive with this war. We know Reform have kind of switched gears, switched their positions there. But I wanted to show this, starting here with the Associated Press. Let's see what they've got here at the front. And I paused the video because I wanted to show you guys here. So this is live here. They said the US says it's destroyed 16 mine-laying vessels near the Strait of Hormuz. So this has been a report reporting yesterday from the current conflict in Iran is that they were looking to lay down mines in the Strait of Hormuz, as opposed to basically stopping ships from basically going through that strait. As most of you guys are aware, 20% of the oil's global supply comes through the Strait of Hormuz. But it is not just oil, guys. It's not just gas as well. There are minerals that are also quite very, very essential that comes through that strait as well. So there are other resources that are needed in order that also disrupts the global economy as well. And the US have been targeting the mine laying vessels near the Strait of Hormuz here. As we can see here, obviously this is unclassified documents that US Central Command have shown to be targeting these ships with the intention of trying to stop the mines being laid in the areas, because obviously if they lay the mines in the area, it means the ships will be paralyzed on both sides of the strait, being unable to get through whatsoever here. So this is them showing them targeting many of the boats in the area there. Let's have a look at the live feed and see what it has been saying. So far the US says it's destroyed 16 mine-laying vessels near the Strait of Hormuz. It's taken out more than a dozen yesterday, and the Islamic Republic vowed to block the region's oil exports, saying it would not allow even a single litre to be shipped to its enemies. The Pentagon said on Tuesday about 130 US service members have been wounded in the war, and the vast majority of the injured were minor, with 108 service members already back on duty. 8 US service members have suffered severe injuries and 7 have been killed. That's the official numbers from the Pentagon so far. It's possible the numbers could be higher as time rolls on. 2 more members of the Iranian women's soccer team were granted asylum system in Australia before their teammates departed the country. Australian Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke said on Wednesday, however, one of the women later changed her mind and will return to Iran. The war has killed 1,230 people in Iran, at least 550 in Lebanon and 12 in Israel, according to officials in the country. So those are the numbers we are seeing right now. I will say, and this is really, really important context, and I'm sure you guys agree with me, or take what the mainstream media say with a pinch of salt, of course, because especially when it comes to media, more pro-Western media, because obviously they will try to, they're a bit more appealing to the war and to the side of Western governments. And we know that they're not always 100%. The way they put, while they will give the news, but they will give it in a way that's more appealing to right-wingers, shall we say, to a certain extent. So I do say always take it with a pinch of salt here. Egypt urges Iran to stop its attacks on Arab countries there. Calling on Iran to stop its attacks in Arab countries and warned it should avoid comprehensive chaos in the Middle East there. Death toll in Lebanon rises to 570. This is, so for those who aren't aware, for people, so I think it's like more than 2 years ago now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, 2 years ago that a ceasefire was initiated between Israel and Lebanon and Hezbollah, which is the proscribed terrorist organization group within Lebanon that is considered a major threat to Israel and the West, that has a great deal of influence and control within Lebanon. And a ceasefire was initiated a year or two ago. I'm pretty sure it was 2 years ago now. And from that ceasefire to now, Israel have breached it almost on a daily basis, launching strikes in the country despite the fact that they agreed to a ceasefire. Israel have never had any held accountability whatsoever for their actions, including the killing of United UN soldiers in the buffer zone, as well as civilians being killed. And obviously the Hezbollah launched a missile attack after they basically attacked Iran and declared war on them. So it's just, and this is really infuriating because Lebanon and Hezbollah have been trying to basically scream at the international community, saying that Israel are consistently violating international law, that they're consistently targeting innocent people in Lebanon. Please help us, please do something. And it's just dropped, fallen tone deaf on the rest of the world, which is very, very disheartening indeed there. Mel, good morning again to you. Fluffy Duck says hi to Quackers. Thank you so much for the super chat. Well, Quackers says hello to you. Quackers says hello to you. Guys, did you know if you're a YouTube member, you get an emoji. You can have an emoji of Quackers as well. If you're a YouTube member, you get emojis of them and the rest of the gang behind me. And also, you get the best part about being a member, guys, is you get every day a picture of one of my two cats as well. That's the best part of being a YouTube member, guys. Thank you so much, Mel, for that super chat. Very kind of you. Appreciate it. Mikey Famine, good morning to you, or evening. I'm not sure what time it is where you are, but hope you are doing well, my friend. Appreciate you giving your time being on here. And good to see you there. Reganelite, did the White House state 150 servicemen have been injured yesterday? Yeah, I think it said, the Pentagon, I just saw it said, the Pentagon said on Tuesday 140 US servicemen have been wounded in the war. So this is what the Pentagon has stated. I don't know if it's up. This is the live feed here. So I don't know. It hasn't updated if it's 150. It might have updated maybe, but we're looking at the live feed now here. Let's have a look at what else is here. Hong Kong Cathay Pacific using retrial charge. Thai cargo strip struck in the Strait of Hormuz. Three crew members are missing there as well. So Thai officials are saying a search is underway for 3 missing crew members after a Thai cargo ship was struck and set ablaze in the Strait of Hormuz this morning. How long ago was this? 35 minutes ago. Thailand's Marine Department said 20 crew members on the ships had already been rescued. The department said the 3 missing crew members were reported in the engine room when the explosion occurred. Oh no. The United Kingdom Marine Trade Operations Centre, run by the British military, said earlier the vessel had been hit just north of Oman in the Strait. The Marine Department said it's coordinating with relevant domestic and international agencies for search and rescue operations there. Israel bolsters forces on the northern border. And the use of white phosphorus. Yes, that's correct, Mikey. Yes, they've been using white phosphorus as well. Thank you for highlighting that. That they've been doing that as well. Israel bolstering forces on the north. Yeah, I don't know if they have or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do another ground invasion in Lebanon. Turkey calls for an end to the war, return to diplomatic efforts. That's not going to happen, at least not right now. Iran hosts a public funeral for the commander killed on the 28th of February. Israel carried out strike in Iran and against Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. That's an hour ago now. Pope Leo pays tribute to Lebanese priest killed in the latest fighting. Yeah, the Pope visited last year Lebanon. He visited the country last year. And, it gave a lot of people who are living in deprived areas. The country is very, very poor. There's a lot of people who are really, really deprived. And it gave people some hope and optimism. They needed an uplift. And the Pope visiting was very, very uplifting for the people. Unfortunately, it hasn't really, nothing has come of it since then, unfortunately, there. A target Oman said it was shot down Iranian drones as well. New airstrikes hit Tehran as well. My understanding is that US bombers have been carrying out strikes in Iran last night as well, or yesterday, because I've got a short video coming out of that as well. Yes, the Pope is from Chicago. Yes, he is from Chicago. I like that. I like that he's from Chicago as well. A common sense Pope, a very, very good one as well. Saying all the right things. I do like that as well. Let me just scroll back up because I missed a super chat there. Martin, thank you so much there for the 2CHF. I keep forgetting what it's called. I do apologize. But thank you for your support because I can. Yeah, very generous of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Mandy, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well there. Sorry if I missed you there. Hope you are doing well. On my phone, so I can't tag very well. Yeah, I'm the same, Mikey. If I'm using my phone to watch a live stream, I can't tag either. So I definitely know what that's like. So I appreciate it. And Viper Scott, thank you again for another £2 super chat just to get the goal of the line. Yay, confetti! Yes, sorry, I don't have the Graham Hughes confetti, but you can pretend that I'm throwing confetti in the air. Thank you guys for the super chat goal, much appreciated. Right, let's have a look at other stories, guys. I'm sure we're gonna mention the Iran war again. We're gonna see other pieces in this hour, anyway. In this 33 minutes of news. The UK will publish files about the appointment of Epstein's friend Mandelson to the ambassador post. So I saw a story on this, guys. So I'm not going to touch too much on it. I'll probably touch on it a bit more later tonight. But yes, after Prime Minister's questions, they're going to release the files on Mandelson's appointment. So they're finally going to release it, but they're going to do it after PMQs, which is a bit of an insult there to say, yeah, we'll release it after you guys have had PMQs. So yeah. Trump has one prescription midterm. House Republicans have another. Trump's back Fuhrer and Democrat Harris to move Georgia runoff to succeed Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know if Greene's going to get pushed. Don't know if she's going to get pushed. I'm not a fan of her at all there. Pope says deep dish is pizza, so that is canon. We had tornadoes last night. Oh, I hope everyone was okay. I hope everyone was okay from the tornadoes. I really do. Human waste backing up in a basement is a gut-challenging signs of US infrastructure problems. Oh my God. Won't be long before we start having those issues. Major sewage pipe collapse, damages 100 million gallons of sewage into Potomac River, highlighting a nationwide problem involving failing infrastructure. Damn, that's really bad. Genuine collapse of a pipe as wide as a car dumped so much sewage into Potomac River that officials track of spice and gut-rich bacteria slowly drifting past oxygen, prompting emergency declaration. Yeah. 244 gallons spilled, spotlight of severe consequences of old failing infrastructure, smaller sewage overflows and that draw far less than uncommon. Tens of thousands occur every year across the US, contaminating rivers, flooding streams, streets, and sometimes causing backdrop into homes and threatening human health. Yeah, that's the worst part there. Not just obviously the damage it's doing to the environment, but if it backs up into people's homes, it's absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. What else is there? Cast set to take office as Chile marks its sharpest shift to the right since the dictatorship. I've got a short video on it there. Yeah, Chile are turning to the right, guys. It'll be interesting to see how the country goes. I'll try and keep an eye on it as best as I can. So yeah, they're shifting politics significantly there as well. North Korea, Kim watches cruise a test missile of his daughter. I wonder if the daughter's going to take over from him. I generally wonder I would generally wonder. He's got a long way to go though. Most watched video, CCTV video shows the moment that Iran missile hit central Israel. Shall we have a look at it? Shall we have a look at it? Oh my God, he was not far from it. He was not far from that strike. Wow. He was very close. Jesus. That's scary. Oh my God. He literally just a few meters off, he would have been killed. Oh my God, that's scary. That's scary indeed. UAE releases footage showing air defense interceptors destroying a drone. White House says US Navy hasn't escorted any tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. So Donald Trump was lying about the free insurance then, I suppose. What else is there? Young people are turning to old school hobbies to get off their phones. Yep, it's very difficult to get off your phones. It's highly addictive. Major problem indeed. Any other stories here? Massive earthquake and tsunami in Japan killed nearly 20,000. Oh, that's today in history. On March the 11th. Oh. I remember watching the documentary on that. Absolutely devastating. Look at that picture. Absolutely devastating time it was for Japan. I'm about to sneeze, guys. There. Right, sorry about that. US says it destroyed 6-man line mine vehicles. Judge denying restraining order for conservative media figures who sought press passes, apparently. Where's my hand sanitizer? What to say if you're in recovery and your workplace encourages social drinking? Don't drink out. Just drink something light, non-alcoholic. That's what I would say. Personally. Right, let's switch gears. Let's have a look at another outlet, guys, because we've been looking at one for too long. Let's have a look at what Al Jazeera are saying. So Al Jazeera a bit more different from the Associated Press there. It's obviously cover mainly from the Middle East there, but let's see what they're saying here. What have they got on their live feed, just out of curiosity? Italy's PM condemned strike on Iranian primary school. Widely attributed to the US. Yeah, I strongly believe the US is responsible, but they're not saying that. Yeah. 170 people, most of them 7 to 12-year-old girls. Yeah, it's absolutely horrible what happened here. Austria to take part in the IEA release of oil from reserves. Austria will take part of release of oil from strategic reserves that countries at the International Energy Agency are due to approve later today. It will be in very close contact with all International Energy Agencies members states since yesterday and will support the decision in principle to release these crucial oil reserves. Are they still as far as I'm aware, I believe that the EU are still looking to open up the pipes with Russia, because you can't rely on these reserves for too long. I'm not interested in that video. Large crowds gather in Tehran for slain commander's funeral. Yeah, we saw that on the other one there. Analysis piece there. Funeral ceremony for military held with the commander. Jeez. Absolutely massive support. Yeah, they're very much behind the regime there. Drone strike reportedly kills Iranian opposition fighter in Iraq's Kazakhstan, according to a report there. KLM temporarily suspends Dubai flights. Yeah, British Airways did the same thing. British Airways have done the same thing. Nearly 20,000 civilian buildings has been damaged in Iran, according to the Red Crescent. That's about an hour ago. Bombing reported in eastern Tehran. That's about an hour ago as well. This is an hour ago as well. Oil prices surge over $90 as US-Israeli war disrupts supply. The global oil prices climb sharply as the ongoing US-Israel-Iran war continues. No insurance company is allowing tankers to go through. They say they would. We have said, but apparently a Thai one tried to go through yesterday. So I'm not sure what insurance or if any it had. It sounds like they were trying to get out of it there. European gas prices jump amid the Strait of Hormuz supply fear. Yeah, of course, there. Israeli army to send reinforcements to the northern sector border in Lebanon as well. Yeah, it looks like lots of the live feed there is currently the same with what we saw from the Associated Press there. We'll have to take some Gaviscon for PMQs there. That's the live feed on Israel's TV channel right now. What else they got here? Israel pounds Lebanon, targeting residential buildings in central Beirut. Iran declares US-Israel economic banking interests in the region are targets as well. Breaking news, Israel carries out new attacks. IRGC said it targeted US troops in Kuwait and Bahrain. There, it's just on the top there. Multiple vessels targeting the Strait of Hormuz. We saw the Thailand one hit as well. India's Supreme Court allows first ever passage in euthanasia death there. Withdrawal of artificial life support granted to a family. A 32-year-old man who had been in the vegetative state for more than 12 years. What a terrible... oh my God. That's so terrible. 12 years in a vegetative state. That's so terrible. 12 years. 12 years. Oh my God. And the Supreme Court has allowed the country's first case of passive euthanasia withdrawal of an artificial life support for a 32-year-old man who had been in a vegetative state for more than 12 years. They on Wednesday permitted the withdrawal of life support for Hashi Aranda, a resident in the northern state of Utah, who suffered severe head injuries after falling from a building in 2013. Parents, next of kin, and the medical board have received the opinion that clinically administration, nutrition administration should be discontinued. The court was hearing a petition filed by Renee's father seeking permission to withdraw life-sustaining treatment for his son. The family said Renee was being kept artificially alive. The court, in its ruling, said it can examine no meaningful interaction and had been dependent on all others for all activities and self-care. These conditions have shown no improvement. The court was quoted as saying by a legal news website. India recognised passive NCS in 2018, permitting the removal of life support under strict conditions allowing death to occur naturally, but this marks the first time that a court has approved its use as an individual. Doctors already concluded that Renia had virtually no chance of recovery. It took 12 years, guys. But because he does not have a living will and a legally binding document outlining preferences for medical care, he has not been able to give his consent for passive euthanasia. Yeah, this is why a will is really, really important. So having a will is really, really important. Which when I reach 40, I actually do. When I hit 40, guys, I actually am going to finally write a will for myself. His parents therefore petitioned the court allowing him to be taken life off support. Supreme Court rejected a plea in 2015 at age 66, but the court did issue Landguard. Interesting. 12 years in a vegetative state. What a terrible, terrible ordeal. That is really horrible. Really, really is. A UNA worker was killed in DR Congo's rebel held Goma. Yep, there's still Congo's. This is a region that doesn't get talked about enough. France president said a French aid worker killed with UNICEF was killed after M23 rebels said a combat drone hit the city. Macron said on X, call respect for humanitarian law, personnel on the ground who commit to save lives. Yeah, it's bad enough, yeah, that they're killing each other, but not. But it's also just on top of UNICEF workers who are just trying to help people. So taking up arms in 2021, M23 has captured swathes of mineral-rich Congolese east, unleashing fresh spiral of violence in the region, long plagued by fighting. M23 spokesperson said a drone attack in the early hours of Wednesday hit a residential building in the centre of Goma. A French national and UNICEF employee was in the residence at the time and had been killed. The UN has yet to comment. Video shared online and verified by Al Jazeera shows a house with part of its roof destroyed, a trail of smoke from one side. Sources on the ground speaking to Al Jazeera confirmed the structural damage. Russia kills 2 in Ukraine's Kharkov. War grinds on, focused on the Middle East. Yeah, there's still war still taking place in Europe. Russian drones, eastern Ukraine city of Kharkov have killed 2 people and several others. Civilian enterprise caught fire, which was 4 men. Adding that 3 men and 4 men have been hospitalised. Remarks posted in the Telegram showing message. Preliminary information showed that 2 people have been killed. Now 2 people's lives lost in this pointless war. Ukraine's second largest city lies about 30 kilometres, 18 miles from the Russian border. The United States is pushing for Kiev and Moscow to agree to an elusive peace deal. With the war now entering its 5th year, but a third round of party talks has been derailed by the sprawling war in the Middle East launched by US Israel against Iran. On last Saturday, 2 children were among at least 10 people killed in a Russian missile strike that hit a 5-story building in Kharkov. Children being killed by Russia. Very, very sad. It's just infuriating at times. It is. It's really infuriating. Let's have a look. Let me just have a quick look what you guys are saying in the chat. See what you guys are saying. Chat, right, get your bingo card. What the PMQ is going to say. Have some guts, says the draft dodger. Yeah, Mikey Famine. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't. What I've seen what he said about the He admitted to the oil. You know, let the oil prices go up or something along those lines, and it's just like, dude, do you have any idea what you've just said? Like, not very smart of Donny. He's really not. Drone strike on M23 held Congo City, killed several people. Is this the same drone strike that we just saw? Airstrikes overnight on Tuesday to Wednesday killed several people in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. So taking up arms. City has swayed. This is African news for reference. People wondering what I'm using. Yeah, and UNICEF staff member as well. But yeah, so the other story didn't mention the deaths of other people dying. It's a bit, Al Jazeera didn't mention, which is a bit weird. But yeah, several people being killed in a drone strike there. Sudan assurances of fuel supply security amid panic buying. Yeah, they're in a civil war right now. Sudan, people forget that. It's just one of the worst humanitarian crises on the planet right now. What's happening in Sudan, much worse than what's happening right now in Gaza. People forget that. Ex-Congo football chief gets life sentence over 1.5 million FIFA funds there. Madagascar cautionally welcomes dismissal of cabinet. What? People in Madagascar cautionally welcome the dissolution of the country's council ministers by the Jura leader. Many people feel the government of the Prime Minister have failed to deliver the change desired by the country's youth. Demonstrations against water and power shortages in September last year snowballed into a protest movement that the government failed to stop with a crackdown and left people dead and injured. Monday's dismissal of the government came as a surprise. Spokesperson for the Gen Z Collective. It's true that we didn't like the choice of Prime Minister at first, but they showed an openness that made us think that we could move forward. While the reshuffle did not seem necessary, the change could be an opportunity for people to push, to take up our demands. The group was not reassured by recent developments, including the release of transitioned roadmap without its consultation and signs of militarization in the regime. There are faint signs that perhaps we are drifting towards something that does not follow the demands of last year's protests, he said. Sounds like this is another example of another country where the next generation of people are being ignored. Drones, 21st century, AK-47. Literally, Benjamin, that is literally it. You know, the AK-47 was the weapon. Now it's the drone. Good morning to you, Benjamin. Hope you are doing well. My dad was a tool maker. His dad was a tool maker, apparently. Yes, Dharma. What else is there? Egypt Prime Minister defends fuel price hike. South Sudan US officials concerned over human rights violations as well. I've got that as a short video. Haiti. What's happened? We haven't heard from Haiti in a while, guys. Human Rights Watch sound alarm on drone strikes. According to Human Rights Watch, the Haitian government is using security forces and contractors to launch drone strike on the armed gangs, strike that are also endangering civilians. I had a feeling they would turn to drones at some. Point. The organisation added that such strikes killed at least 1,243 people between March last year and January 2026, including 7 children. Scores more were wounded, again including civilians. How come I've not heard about this? Why have global news not been covering what's been happening in Haiti? Human Rights Watch American urges Haiti government to rein in the operations. Haiti authorities should urgently rein in security forces and private contractors working them before more children die. And what's going on with Kenya's police force that they were going to be using in the area as well? That's a good question. Yeah, forced around 1.4 million people to flee their homes. Kind of wish, I need to look up a bit more about what's going on in Haiti because it has been a while there. Jihadist attack hit a Nigerian military base in the northeast. Residents of Ethiopia, Togo region start to flee amid fears of a renewed civil war. Embassy calls on Ivory Coast to release unjust arrest election protesters. It's not good in the African continent, this stuff, guys. Amnesty International is calling on Ivory Coast to release dozens of people arrested during protests linked to October's presidential election. Amnesty said those detained are being held on because they were in the vicinity of the unrest. Among them were 3 women in the advanced stages of pregnancy, the right group said. A spokesperson for the government said it is building a state government by rule of law and those arrests had committed offences. Does not sound very good. Does not sound very good there. Total lunar eclipse will turn the moon red on Tuesday. I think that's already happened because today's Wednesday. Did you guys see a red moon last night? Let me know in the chat if you did. What else we got here? Any other interesting stories here? Tunisia, that was a few days ago. Tunisia is to undertake £1 billion expansion of Carthage airport as well. Egypt raises fuel prices by up to 30%. 30%! Jesus. That's a lot of money for Egypt to be demanding. 30%. That's not good at all. Let's have a look at the Kiev Independent here. I'm just going to refresh it just to see if it updates. They got an exclusive there saying Saudi Arabia preparing a huge deal for Iran weapons amid Iran drone threat. Latest story, they have at least 9 people were killed and 44 others were injured in Russian attacks against Ukraine over the past day, like authorities reported today. 99 attack drones, including 70 Shah-type drones at Ukraine over the past day, the Air Force reported. That's what they've encountered overnight, guys. 99 attack drones, including 70 there. Insane amount of firepower. And they get it on a daily basis. Moscow's own assessment reveals staggering losses in Ukraine. Yep, I've got that as a short video. Storm Shadow hits a major Russian missile control system factory. Zelensky is claiming there. Looking at stories on the right-hand side, General Staff is claiming 1.2 million losses of life in Ukraine since the start of the war. Number includes 990 casualties that Russian forces suffered over the past day. US official asked, what does Putin have on Trump? Over to downplay Russians' intel on Iran. Russia committed crimes against humanity through deportation of Ukrainian children, UN inquiry has found. The forced deportation and transfer of Ukrainian children by Russia for its full-scale war in Ukraine amounts to crime against humanity, a UN investigation published yesterday found. Since the start of Moscow's full-scale invasion, Ukraine's National Children of War database has documented 20,000 Ukrainian children have been abducted from Russian-occupied territories and taken to Russia or Russian-controlled areas. The Commission concluded that crimes against humanity and war crimes by Russian authorities have targeted children who are among the most vulnerable victims. A report by the Independent International Commission of Inquiry on Ukraine has found. The report is expected to be presented to the UN Human Rights Watch tomorrow. The Commission, which studied 1,205 cases of Russian child abductions and conducted over 200 interviews, according to a report, concluded that the abductions consisted a well-established pattern of conduct, indicating these acts have been widespread and systematic. In March 2023, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Russian President Vladimir Putin. This is the vile, evil woman, Russian Commissioner of Children's Rights, Marina Lovabevia. This is the vile, sickening woman right here. This Marina woman, she's vile, accusing them of unlawful deportation of Ukrainian minors. Moscow has rejected the allegations, and they have, I will say, they have returned some Ukrainian children, but the number is very, very low, guys. The number is very, very low. In addressing top Russian officials' roles in the abductions, the report further found that Putin's involvement in the execution of Moscow policies has been visible from the outset. The Russian authorities at the highest level, including Mr. Putin and entities directly answerable to him, as well as authorities at the regional level and the Russian-occupied areas in Ukraine, have coordinated practical modalities to carry out these deportation and transfers and to further relocate the children into the Russian Federation. These acts have been committed following a consistent and careful organised plan and modus operandi initiated before the full-scale invasion. Before the full-scale invasion. So they were already planning to do this before. Even the war began. Children. Good morning, Jenny. Hope you are doing well there. And anybody else, if I've missed anyone, I do apologise. Anyone in the chat as well. A busman puts the number up 150,000. And someone claims it's up to 200 to 300,000 children. Jesus. Yeah, so Kiev has made some progress on returning some of the children, which I did say, yeah, far fewer than 2,000 of the abducted children have been returned. Only 2,000 out of the numbers could be even higher than what they've looked at, guys. 200, as many as possible, as high as 300,000 Ukrainian children. Yeah, guys, if Stephen Banker and Viper's have provided petition links. If you can sign those links, be greatly appreciated, guys. Do sign up and support the legislated crime motivated by misogyny and as hate crimes, and the misogyny bill petition link. Is it the same one, guys? I think you guys have the same one there. But yeah, if you can sign up, please sign it. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks for sharing that, guys. What else stories they've got here? We've got about 9 minutes left, guys, before PMQs. I will get the feed in a moment. Ukraine to get 35 Patriot interceptors in the coming weeks. German media has reported. That's good. Mask has slipped after Hungarian minister a mixed link between seized Ukrainian cash. US considering lifting Russian oil sanctions to reduce global energy prices. Yeah, this is a big problem. This is a massive problem. This will go away. This will greatly benefit Russia. Greatly benefit in the war. Yeah, he said 2 days ago he's preparing to waive certain oil-related sanctions to stabilize global energy markets as the war in Iran drives the market higher. Very, very annoying. Very, very annoying indeed. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'm just going to check if UK Parliament has the feed up. They do. Let me just. Oh, they've already got it. They've already set it as live. Let me just mute that for now. Okay. Right. So it is live, the feed, but obviously it's not Prime Minister's questions yet. Let's have a look at the New York Times, guys. Let's see what they are saying here. New York Times, how Trump and his advisors miscalculate Iran's response to war. Because they just listened to Israel and thought, oh, if Israel are going in, we might as well go and support them. Yeah, they didn't. You would do a lot of preparation, you know. I heard they're sending a third U.S. Aircraft carrier out to the Middle East now, which kind of shows just how ill prepared they are. At least 3 ships come under attack near Key Passage. The war of Iran changed the world in a week. That's true. U.S. Gas prices jumped for the 11th straight day, and oil pushes harder. At least 17 U.S. sites are damaged in the war of Iran, analysis has showed. The Times analysis of satellite imagery, verified videos show damage to more than a dozen American military sites and installations there. Trump direct war with the markers, tops of minds. Iran's military shows it knows how to adapt, U.S. officials say. Of course they do. They've been preparing for this war for God knows how long. New Iranian leader was wounded early in the war, Iran and Israeli officials have said. White House social media videos turn the war into entertainment. Are critics right? Yeah, they think it's a joke. 2 more affiliated with Iran's women's soccer team. Yeah, we saw that story already. Police in Britain repeatedly declined to investigate Epstein. Why? The police interviewed for GFC for Andrew Batman but never began a criminal investigation. Yeah, that's a good question. Gang members would drag us away if we didn't come with them. That's a story there. Trump casts a shadow over one of Mexico's deadly states. President Trump wants to strike cartels inside Mexico in Sinaloa, a cartel stronghold. Some residents said they were willing to entertain U.S. intervention. Mexican, it's I just don't know what you can do in Mexico with the control the cartels have. I don't know what you can do. Panbody says is said to move to military housing because of threats. Well, yeah, you know, because of her job, what she was doing before. The Attorney General relocation from Washington apartment, like, yeah, you know, I don't blame people for being angry. They shouldn't wish death upon these people. Like, I just want to point that out there. But it sadly, does not surprise me. Trump has no idea how to end the war with Iran. That's true. They don't want their company surveillance tools used by ICE. Trump administration to restart global entry program. Ukraine reaching a milestone, making China free drones, apparently. In Marjorie Taylor Greene district attorney, Trump backed candidate advances. So so Fuller and Harris for both Democrat and Republican in that area there. Don't know enough about it to comment on it there. Late Night makes fun of Pete Hegseth's fruit baskets. Yeah, why not? Why not? Any other stories? Raise taxes on the rich. The rich New Yorkers are all for it. Mayor Zohar Mamdani said he wants to raise taxes on New Yorkers who earn more than $1 million per year. Some millionaires agree with him. This is the New York Times that were very much... Isn't this the same New York Times that was very much against the mayor? I'm pretty sure they were against the mayor. Maybe I'm going mad. I heard he's already cut some of the deficit on the... I've read one report that the mayor of New York has already cut about quite a good chunk of the deficit already. And he's only been mayor for 3 months? Which is quite extraordinary. I've heard. Correct. I've definitely seen those stories, which is bonkers. It really shows that he really is working really, really hard. Any other interesting stories here? Not really, no. Let's have a quick look at... we still got a couple minutes anyway, guys, before we go. Let's have a quick look at CNN. Let's have a quick look at CNN before we switch over. Do I have CNN feed? I don't have a CNN feed. Let me see if I can find what's one's close to it. Let me try that one. I could do that one, actually. Let me use that feed there. Before we go into it, the whole cabinet is living on basis. Cavalan says it might be debate night, but I can't be sure about that. I think the reform guy in the clip might be the reform leader in Scotland. We could stop arming the cartels, maybe. Yeah, that might be a good start. Yeah. So what they got here on CNN, with jets overhead, CNN crew forced to seek safety in Tehran. Yeah, unlike Israel, who won't allow independent journalists in the Gaza Strip, independent journalists are allowed inside Iran to see what's going on in the country. There, so they should, obviously they put their lives at risk by being in there, but they're showing. Attacks on ships Strait of Hormuz escalates. IDF and Iran are fighting two different wars. Iran begins laying mines Strait of Hormuz. Fresh airstrikes hit Tehran's residential area. Trump can't taco out the Iran war's oil price shock. No, he can't. He's buggered in that one. The world's largest elephants were hiding from humanity for decades, apparently. Around 1,300-pound US spacecraft set to plunge back to Earth uncontrollably, apparently. Kim Jong-un daughter oversees second missile test. Inside Katy Perry's 16-year trademark battle with Katy Perry and the win. Meta just bought the social network for AI bots everyone's been talking about. Yeah, as you guys know, I have a Facebook page that I make money from. And they have been trying to, basically, with some of my work on the Facebook page, they've been trying to encourage me to use artificial intelligence, which I have profoundly rejected because I don't want to use it. I really don't. I don't want to use artificial intelligence on my work. There, so that's for sure. The Prime Minister and the Chancellor is literally sitting down as we speak. So it will be starting in just a moment, guys. They just have one or two more questions before we go over there. Just a quick reminder for people in the chat, I'll be live again tonight at 8 o'clock for Reganelite's Watch Along. We'll be watching and reacting to certain clips online, and I use mainly on X. So it could be stuff on Iran, could be stuff in the UK, could be stuff in the Middle East, all sorts of clips and reactions and whatnot. So do join me for that if you can. There, right, PMQs has started. Let's have a listen.
Brackenbridge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question 1.
Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our armed forces are working day and night to protect British lives and British interests in the Middle East. The RAF have flown over 230 hours of defensive operations over multiple countries, shooting down multiple drones, protecting British lives and our allies. We thank them for their courage and for their professionalism.
Yep.
Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Prime Minister, strengthening Britain's defence capability and rebuilding our industrial base has never been more important. Can the government's £1 billion helicopter investment with Leonardo UK support skilled jobs across the UK, including Tata Steel in Wensfield and my supply chains in Wolverhampton North East, where we are immensely proud of our Black Country steel and manufacturing heritage? And will the Prime Minister ask relevant ministers to meet me to discuss securing more of those good jobs in Wolverhampton and Willenhall?
Prime Minister.
I can thank my honourable friend and very happy to arrange the meeting that she is asking for. Our £1 billion investment in new helicopters is good news for steelmakers in her constituency and secures thousands of jobs across the United Kingdom. Mr. Speaker, we're making defence an engine for growth. Jobs building helicopters, new Typhoons in the northwest, new frigates, creating a decade of shipbuilding on the Clyde. A Labour government investing in our armed forces.
Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Benno.
Let's see if you screw it up here, Kemi, again.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Why does the Prime Minister think now is the right time to increase the cost of petrol?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we are not increasing the cost of petrol. We're absolutely clear in taking the measures that are necessary to deal with the impact of the conflict in Iran. We're dealing with that with other allies. We're taking the necessary action. But the best thing that we can do, Mr. Speaker, is to work with others to de-escalate the situation. And Mr. Speaker, as I said to the House last week, I took the decision that we should not join the initial US-Israeli offensive against Iran. The leader of the opposition attacked me for that decision relentlessly. She said that the UK should have joined the US and Israel in the initial offensive strikes. Mr. Speaker, then yesterday, in the wake of the economic consequences, the leader of the opposition totally abandoned her position. She told the BBC, I never said we should join. She told the BBC, I haven't said we should have gone in with the United States. That is the mother of all U-turns on the single most important decision a Prime Minister ever has to take, whether to commit the United Kingdom to war or not.
Listen, look, we could talk about the U-turns that the Conservatives have, but mate, your party's done its fair share of U-turns, which is pretty embarrassing in and of itself there. But I have to say, you have Kemi back and not U-turning, and you had Nigel Farage for U-turning because they both realised, oh, we can't stick with Trump on this because it's deeply unpopular with the UK public. And it's like, yeah, of course it's unpopular. What makes you think that the people are going to support what's going on in the Middle East? There's no plan.
Mr. Speaker, I think the mother of all U-turns is him saying that they're not increasing fuel duty. That is news to us because last week the Chancellor stood up and said the fuel duty was going to increase in September. The Prime Minister told us at the start of the year that the cost of living was his #1 priority. So can he explain how a rise in fuel duty helps with the cost of living?
look, that I do agree to this extent that the Prime Minister is, his hands are kind of tied to what's happening in the Middle East, and kind of tied to international. So I do accept that, but there are some mechanisms that they are looking at. So I do have some sympathy with the PM in this situation here. But in terms of the cost of living, have they been doing enough on that? That is definitely questionable.
Mr. Speaker, fuel duty is frozen. It's going to remain frozen until September, and we will keep the situation under review in light of what's happening in Iran.
That's true. That's the
But
best way to do
Mr.
it.
Speaker, the most important issue is de-escalating the situation. And I come back to the Leader of the Opposition's position, because this is one of the most important decisions a Prime Minister or Leader of the Opposition ever has to take, whether to commit your country to war. The day after the initial US-Israeli strike started, her Shadow Foreign Secretary said that the US-Israeli initial attacks were absolutely right, and it is a position my party supports. She said, why has the Prime Minister not actually worked with America to be much more proactive? Last Wednesday, Leader of the Opposition. We are in this war whether we like it or not. What is the Prime Minister waiting for? Then yesterday she says, I never said, I know they don't want to hear it. I know they don't.
Look, I know you guys and me how we feel about Labour and Keir Starmer, but I'm gonna let him rinse and cook the crap out of Kemi Badenoch, because she absolutely deserves it. She absolutely deserves this roasting. Okay.
I wouldn't want to hear it if I were them. After all that, she said...
Order, order. Enough is enough. I can't hear it. Who wants to lead the first ones out? Right, we'll have a little bit more silence. Prime Minister.
So after 9 days of saying, join the war, join the war, join the war, yesterday she says, I never said we should join. I haven't said we should go in with the US. I'll tell you what's happened, Mr. Speaker. She and the Reform leader have been spooked because they realise they've jumped into supporting a war without thinking through the consequences.
Yep.
And now she's furiously trying to backpedal.
The Prime Minister seems to be asking last week's questions. This week, I'm asking about fuel duty. He has said that he wants to help... Mr. Speaker, he has said that he wants to help with the cost of living. My constituents live in a rural area. They rely on their cars to get to the shops, take their kids to school, see their elderly parents. And they tell me the rising cost of petrol is the single biggest cost affecting family finances. So does the Prime Minister not understand how important cars are to people in rural areas, or does he just not care?
Prime Minister.
She is right that cars, we do need to do, you know, she's not wrong about the situation when it comes to fuel and the rural areas. And that's where I mean this sincerely. Like, I know they come at a cost, but public transport is so vital for me in rural areas, even if it comes at a cost, even if people don't get on them, because it can get people from A to B. It's something that really does bother me here in particular in England, that really bothers me, that we have rural areas where they just don't run enough buses for people who need them. And yes, most of the buses will be empty, and yes, it comes at a cost, but the idea is it's supposed to be there for you when you need it. That's the whole point of buses.
Mr. Speaker, we're working across all departments and with allies to deal with the impact of the conflict in Iran, as the House would expect.
It's too early to kind of like say we're gonna stop these fuel prices and whatnot. It's too early to say that. You know, right? Like, we don't even know when this war is gonna end. We don't know if the US and Israel, or the US in particular, are going to break what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. There's so many things, there's so many factors. We don't know if we're going to be joining the EU when it comes to getting more oil and gas from Russia, for example. Like, there's so many complications and different factors taking place here. And I know people want straightforward answers, but the reality is there is no straightforward answer with regards to fuel.
But she says about, if I'd asked her last week, her position would have been, we support the initial strikes and we want to join the war. This week she says, we don't want to join the war. I'm sorry, that is a screeching U-turn.
Well, one thing the government has done, Sean, is that they did freeze rail fares for this year, which is nice. You know, as somebody who uses trains a lot, that is something I do credit the government for. But you know, that is far too expensive rail fares, even with the freeze.
And Mr. Speaker, this is in this job, you don't get a second shot at making the right call on taking your country to war.
Yeah, it's true.
If she were Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, we would be in the war, and she would be coming back to Parliament a week later to say, oh, sorry, I got that one wrong.
Order! 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 I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but unfortunately, we've got to stick to Prime Minister's questions, not opposition questions.
Mr. Speaker, he said if I were Prime Minister, HMS Dragon would have left a week ago.
Yeah, she just doesn't understand HMS Dragon was not ready to go a week ago. Obviously, she, you need to ask the goddamn experts there.
The only time... Mr. Speaker, the only time he's taken decisive action was stopping Andy Burnham from standing in the by-election. But let's talk about what the people out there are worried about. I heard from a builder, Mr. Speaker, who has 115 employees using 75 vans. With the jobs tax, sky-high energy bills, and now a hike in petrol prices, that builder is having sleepless nights. How does the Prime Minister justify a rise in fuel duty to that small business owner and millions more like him up and down the country?
Prime Minister.
There hasn't been a rise. It is frozen. There isn't going. It is frozen until September. And Mr. Speaker, she mentions the HMS Dragon. Can I first start by thanking the Royal Navy who are serving on HMS Dragon? Can I second say that what's been happening is it's been carefully being loaded with the anti-strike ammunition and capability that it needs. And the Navy and civilians have been working 22-hour shifts in relationship. But in relation to those that are taking the action to defend us, what does she say? Just hanging about. Just hanging about.
Yeah, she said it.
That's how she described our pilots in the region. Let me tell you what they've been doing. Flying sorties in 7 of the 10 countries in the region day and night, taking out incoming strikes, protecting the lives of others whilst risking their own. If she had any decency, she'd get up and she would apologise.
She really should.
Mr. Speaker. Oh, hang on. I think they should wait for it. Mr. Speaker, I have never criticised our armed forces.
Oh.
I have criticised him.
Order. Mr. Swallow, you're going out. I've had enough. Week in, week out. Either leave or I'll name me.
Mr. Speaker, I have never criticised our armed forces. I am criticising him and his decisions. And let me remind the House, Mr. Speaker, about his record on the armed forces. This is the same man who worked with Phil Shiner, a traitor to this country, who made up evidence to put our soldiers in prison for crimes they didn't commit. That is his record, so I won't take any lectures from him. And by the way, military families are also worried, the ones in this country, about petrol prices. He's got nothing to say on that. And there's another group of people, Mr. Speaker, who have been hammered by this government. Farmers. I spent all last year telling the Prime Minister that his family farms tax was killing British farming. Now, those farmers are being punished with higher fuel prices. Does the Prime Minister think that's fair?
So, Mr. Speaker, no apology to our pilots who are risking their lives. And I'm not going to take lectures from someone who says we should join the war, and a week later says, "Can I change my mind? I got that wrong." It is deeply embarrassing. And she's not the only one. Mr. Speaker, last week she's not the only one, the leader of reform. We should be part of this with the US and the Israelis. We have to get rid of the regime. We should do all we can to support the operation. I make that perfectly clear, he said. Until yesterday, screeching U-turn, we shouldn't get ourselves involved in another foreign war. Two parties packed with failed Tories, led by leaders who are not fit to be Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, he doesn't want to talk about fuel duty because he has got absolutely no answers. The Conservatives are on the side of farmers. We are also on the side of drivers. We froze fuel duty every year from 2011, and in fact, we cut it in 2022 because we care about the cost of living. Labour think drivers are a cash cow. And now, Mr. Speaker, they think that drivers are a cash cow, and now they're hiking fuel duty for the first time in 15 years. Everyone in this House knows the pattern. First, he'll march his backbenchers up the hill. Then they'll be forced to defend fuel duty rises in the local elections. Then there'll be another humiliating U-turn. So why doesn't the Prime Minister just stand up, admit he's got it wrong again, and scrap the fuel duty hike now?
And was very much pointed out in the chat. We don't control oil prices. The leader of the opposition accept that. Like, here's the thing: we're not like pretty much all of us in the chat are not fans or favours of Prime Minister Keir Starmer and this Labour government. All right, but even we can see the stupidity in Kemi Badenoch's arguments here.
Mr. Speaker, in the last 2 weeks, I've made two of the most important decisions a Prime Minister can make. The first is that we should not join the war in Iran. The second is we should protect British lives and the British national interest.
There's a reason why the Conservatives are falling so far down, are falling quite a bit. But even, well, I say falling down, but there's some polls indicating that they're pulling back numbers. And I don't know where the hell this is coming from. Like, I don't know why people are there are some people who are finding these attack lines from the Conservatives appealing. But, I mean, they didn't even get their deposit back at the Gorton and Denton by-election. And they're not expected to make any gains in any of the elections coming up this year. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know where because what's happened is that there has been a bit of an increase in voter support for the Conservatives for the last couple of months. I don't know where it's coming from, but it certainly wasn't appearing in the Gorton and Denton by-election. I haven't seen it in any council election results. So I'm like, even though there may be some polls indicating that they may be getting some numbers back, I'm not sure where they're expecting to go here. And it just seems like another thumping. I mean, I got criticised for my video calling for Kemi Badenoch to go because of things that she said about our armed forces last week. And I stand by those comments, even though people disagree with me. But even here, you can just see just how embarrassing she is. Like, the Conservatives really do need to change their leader.
The leader of the opposition decided that we should join the war against Iran. A week later, that we should not join the war against Iran and to insult our armed forces. She has utterly disqualified herself from ever becoming Prime Minister. Thankfully, she never will.
No, she ever won't. She won't. I agree with that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the Prime Minister knows, my mum proudly worked in the pot banks of Burslem and Tunstall and is watching at home right now. Now, tomorrow is International Day of Ceramics, and that matters deeply to Stoke-on-Trent, the historic heart of Britain's ceramic industry. Yes, and Newcastle-under-Lyme. With energy prices rising, again, due to global instability, will the Prime Minister please tell my mum and our fellow Stokies what additional support the government will give energy-intensive industries like ceramics so the kilns of Stoke-on-Trent can fire for generations to come?
Afternoon, blah, blah.
He raised a really important issue, and I know that not only will his mum be watching, but his constituents, who he serves very, very well. Our supercharger will significantly reduce costs for thousands of major industries. eligibility for the scheme is being reviewed this year. I can tell my honourable friend we're working with the ceramics industry on whether the scheme can be extended to more firms. Under the last government, industrial energy prices doubled and over 1,000 jobs were lost in the sector. We will not tolerate that.
Said David, Leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I pay tribute to the Honourable Member for Warrington North for her powerful and courageous speech in the debate on jury trials yesterday. I really hope the Prime Minister was listening. Mr. Speaker, 30 years ago this week, a man carried 4 handguns into Dunblane Primary School and murdered a teacher and 16 children. I was deeply moved by the BBC documentary about it last night and the courage of the parents who campaigned for a ban on handguns to keep other children safe, including Mick North, who lost his 5-year-old daughter Sophie on that dark day. He's rightly called on the Honourable Member for Clacton to renounce his description of the handgun ban as, and I quote, ludicrous, something the member still refuses to do. And Mr. North has also called for a review of firearms legislation to close any loopholes. Does the Prime Minister agree?
Prime Minister.
Well, I certainly do, and we must never forget the horror of Dunblane and never forget the young children and their teacher who did not come home from school. The campaign that families fought to make this country a safer place is a lasting legacy, and we should be enormously grateful for their courage.
Sir Ed Davey.
The Prime Minister for his reply, and I hope the government will close any loopholes. Mr. Speaker, this week families across the country have seen petrol prices rise at the pump, mortgage rates go up, and fixed energy deals get more expensive, all because of a war they did not start and do not support. The leader of the Conservatives has been competing with the Honourable Member for Clacton to be Donald Trump's biggest cheerleader. And the Prime Minister was right to reject their costly warmongering. But last week, I asked him to guarantee that energy bills won't rise by hundreds of pounds in July. He didn't answer. So let me try again. Will he give people that energy bill guarantee now?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for raising this, because people will be really worried about the impact on them, and just to reassure households that the cap is in place until the end of June, until July, and therefore that deals with the situation for households there. We are working with the sector and with others and with allies to do everything we can to make sure those energy bills don't rise, so we're working round the clock on that. The most important thing, the most effective thing we can do is to work with our allies to find a way to de-escalate the situation. He's right about the Leader of the Opposition, the Leader of Reform. Last week they were urging us to join, this is serious, to join. If they had been leading the country, we'd be in a war, and they've now come to Parliament to say, oop.
Order. Prime Minister. Who said lying again? I want that withdrawn. I did. Is that withdrawn? And I'll deal with it, thank you. I don't want any more off the front bench. We take it very seriously, and calling another member a liar is not acceptable.
He wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. Kemi made the statements. I can't believe Conservative MPs calling out lies. They're just as disgusting as their leader.
Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and so that's our position.
Josh Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Too often I hear from SEND families in Hertford and Stortford whose children have been left out of education for months or even years because they can't get a school place that meets their needs within a reasonable distance. I'm campaigning for more investment in the bricks and mortar SEND provision that semi-rural communities like ours need, so families can access support early and easily and their children can thrive in education. So will the Prime Minister back my campaign to expand SEND provision in Hertford and Stortford, and will he arrange a meeting with the relevant minister so we can discuss it in more detail?
Yeah. This is going to become a bigger and bigger problem, as we discussed on Monday's live stream with regarding to SEND here.
Yeah. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker is right. Families are crying out for change, and that's why it's really critical we get this right. Our reforms will fix the broken SEND system, where parents have to fight for support, replacing it with tailored support personal to a child's need. A Best Start family hub in every local authority with a dedicated SEND practitioner will help families with face-to-face support they need. My honourable friend's a great advocate on this issue, and I'm happy to make sure he gets the meeting that he's asking for.
Stephen Flynn.
Mr. Speaker, let's be clear. Donald Trump's war in Iran is illegal, and the situation that has unfolded since is verging on insane. Oil is falling from the skies, sewers are exploding, the IRGC is indiscriminately attacking civilians across the region, cargo ships and potentially even mining the Strait of Hormuz, the economic consequences of which will be stark for the global economy, but for every single person living on these isles too. And whether the Prime Minister accepts it or not, he did indeed take us into that war when he allowed the Americans to use UK bases just last week. But I have a specific question. He'll have seen the same footage I have of an American Tomahawk missile landing on a primary school, killing 110 children. Does he believe that to be a war crime?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we're all concerned by that footage, but let me be absolutely clear with him. We have 300,000 UK nationals, including Scottish citizens, in the region. Strikes, missiles and drones are being fired into the region, putting them at great danger. We are taking action to protect them. I'm astonished that the SNP says don't take action to support Scottish citizens in the region. It's outrageous.
Peter Dowd.
That's not what he said, and you know that's not what he said. Twisting the question. Absolutely twisting the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. National Highways, a government-owned company, has reneged on a promise to replace a demolished footbridge at Park Lane West in Netherton. It crossed one of the busiest roads and junctions in Merseyside, used by countless residents, particularly children and parents going to and from infant and primary school. My constituents have requested that that bridge be replaced with no ifs or buts. Will the Prime Minister support my constituents' very reasonable request to honour that promise made by National Highways?
Can I thank him for campaigning for his constituents, his residents, who are obviously concerned about this. As I understand it, National Highways has concluded the best option for all users, pedestrians and cyclists, is a new crossing. But I thank him for raising the points, and I'll be happy for ministers to continue discussing with him the options.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This afternoon, the Mandelson papers, or the first tranche, will be released, bringing into the light for the first time UK institutional knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein and those associated with him. But here in the UK, we have our own Epstein, Mohammed Fayed, and the institutions that supported his crimes. As a co-chair of the APPG for the survivors of Al Fayed and Harrods, along with the Honourable Member for Lichfield, we welcome the actions of the Metropolitan Police in recent days, but we continue to call on them to describe those crimes as what they were, trafficking. Does the Prime Minister recognise that characterisation, and will he meet with the APPG and survivors to hear their asks?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank you for raising this really important issue? And I discussed it with the Honourable Member for Lichfield last night, particularly the approach of the APPG, and thank her for her important work on this issue. I'm very happy to meet the APPG and the victims. I think it's very important to do so. She'll know there's an ongoing police investigation, but that doesn't mean that we can't have the meeting and listen to those that need to be listened to.
Well said.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Team Derby is our partnership making sure that the billions of pounds in investment that this Labour government is bringing into Derby benefits the people of Derby in regeneration, skills and good jobs. The government's record investment in Rolls-Royce submarines means hundreds of new jobs and apprenticeships in Derby. So will the Prime Minister firmly reject the Green Party's defence policies, which would decimate jobs in Derby and leave the United Kingdom unprotected?
Absolute load of nonsense from a nonsense MP. Absolute load of bollocks.
Can I thank her? Derby is part of our industrial heritage and has a bright future. Initiatives, as she says, like Team Derby are so important to strengthen key sectors like defence, creating jobs and growth. Our £9 billion deal with Rolls-Royce to boost our fleet of nuclear submarines is testament to that, creating more than 1,000 jobs and safeguarding 4,000 more. Those that oppose all that must answer to the working people that they claim to represent.
I'm glad he didn't mention the Green Party outright there, because yeah, that's complete bollocks that came out of her mouth.
The Prime Minister will be happy that I'm not going to ask about fuel duty. Businesses across South West Hertfordshire are telling me they're now reluctant to take on young workers due to this government's rise in employer national insurance contributions and the crippling Employment Rights Bill. With almost 1 million young people now not in employment, education or training, how exactly does the Prime Minister plan to get Great Britain working again?
Mr. Speaker, we're putting in place the youth guarantee, which helps young people into work. It is a serious issue. I would remind him that on their watch, 1 in 8 young people were neither in education, training or work.
Rather than actually bashing the Conservatives on an issue like this, maybe address the issue of the fact that 1 million youth people are in unemployment. Maybe address that issue. Maybe accept that issue. Like we can accept, that the Conservatives left a lot of trash behind. We accept that. But I really hate this. Like, or maybe you guys should have done better. Like in this instance, this doesn't wash for me from the Prime Minister.
Stringer.
Mr. Speaker, the National Audit Office report on Northern Powerhouse Rail, which came out on Monday of this week, surprised none of us in its conclusions that lack of engagement by the Department of Transport with mayoral authorities, local authorities and other involved parties in the north of England was leading to poor programming and lack of investment in the rail system in the north of England. We deserve in the north of England a rail system fit for the 21st century, not the 19th century, which is what it is fit for. Investing in the rail system will enable growth in the north of England, which will benefit the whole of the country. Will the Prime Minister take a personal interest in the slowness of investment in the rail system so that we can have that growth?
Prime Minister. Well, thank you for raising this important point. The party opposite gave nothing but false promises for a decade. We will deliver the biggest transformation of transport in the north for a generation, providing up to £45 billion of funding to deliver. We're taking forward all recommendations from the NAO report. That doesn't change the planning or the trajectory of the project.
Dr. Andrew Morris.
Mr. Speaker, grant cuts and over-optimistic Treasury assumptions on council tax base growth mean that 8 fire stations and 96 retained firefighters across Wiltshire and Dorset face the axe. Would the Prime Minister please facilitate an urgent ministerial meeting for Wiltshire and Dorset MPs to discuss extending the preset flexibility permitted elsewhere at no cost to the Treasury to our fire and rescue service, so its fire stations and its dedicated firefighters can continue to serve our community?
Prime Minister.
I thank him for raising this. I don't know the details in a particular case, but I will make sure that the relevant meeting is set up so that the details can be explored.
Kumar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Russia's continued assault on Ukraine has devastated its healthcare system. Hospitals are under extreme pressure and their critical shortage of specialist staff to treat the injured. That is why I, along with other British physiotherapists, travelled to Ukraine to train clinicians who are working under unimaginable stress.
Well played.
Will the Prime Minister join me in thanking Tanisha Sandhu, Daniel Sim, Kay Joe, Andrew Jaggi for the remarkable work, and will he commit to expanding UK-Ukraine clinical training partnerships?
I hope so.
Yes, I will. And can I pay tribute to her and the rest of the delegation for their commendable work in Kyiv? We recently announced a new package of support for Ukraine, enabling highly skilled British surgeons, nurses and physiotherapists to mentor Ukrainian clinicians treating complex battlefield injuries. Mr. Speaker, on one of my recent trips to Kyiv, I went to one of the hospitals where they were treating the burns of those returning from the front line, and it was humbling to see the work that was being done, and I was extremely proud to know that the UK was helping in treating those who had such awful burns.
Kirsty Black.
Westminster's tax on Scotland's energy is holding back investment, and it's costing thousands of families their livelihoods. After months of refusing to do so, the Chancellor has finally now said she is committed to change. So will the Prime Minister confirm to the House today when the OGPM will be introduced to provide certainty for jobs, certainty for investment and, crucially, certainty for energy security?
Prime Minister. Speaker, we all want certainty for energy security, and oil and gas will be part of the mix for many years to come. I'd remind her that 70,000 jobs were lost under the SNP and Conservatives in the last decade. We want energy security. We see new nuclear as part of that energy security. And what the SNP do, they block it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Silently and in semi-secrecy, London and the south-east of England are experiencing the largest mass eviction by a private landlord in decades. Criterion Capital have issued at least 130 no-fault evictions across their portfolio, including in Britannia Point in Collier's Wood in my constituency. Those affected have done nothing wrong. They have paid their rent, looked after their homes and worked hard. They are simply victims of a voracious landlord who always wants more. Will the Prime Minister ensure that in the final weeks before the abolition of no-fault evictions, his government do all they can to hold Criterion Capital to account?
Well said.
Can I thank her for raising this case? Renters should have security, and I condemn any unfair evictions. I'm proud, Mr. Speaker, to be abolishing Section 21, a practice that's pushed thousands of renters into homelessness. And I'll make sure the Housing Minister looks at the case that she's raised.
It's taking way too long to push it through. They've been in power for a good while now. It's taking far too long, and it's going through too many hoops. Get it fucking signed and done already.
Graham Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Rural residents in Beverley and Holderness are reeling under the impact of higher fuel prices. Yet 2 days ago, the Chancellor said that in September, fuel duty would go up. So my constituents want to know, as the Leader of the Opposition repeatedly asked, is that fuel duty going to go up in September and add to the misery of my constituents or not? Prime Minister, for once in this place, give the House and the people of this country an answer. Yes or no?
He can't answer that, you muppet, because he doesn't know what's going to happen between now and September. You are such an idiot. Do you not realise that you don't know? We don't know what's going to happen right now. He can't make that promise. Like, I'm not an idiot here. I understand he's in a very difficult position, and you guys in the chat know that. It's a stupid question to try and get a guaranteed answer on something that he cannot guarantee. It's a dumb question from a dumb politician.
Fuel duty is frozen. It'll be frozen until September. In light of what's happening in Iran, of course we'll look carefully at the situation. But his constituents need to know, and it's right that they know, that it's frozen until September, not fear-marking.
Martin Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The devastating fire on Union Street in Glasgow has destroyed small businesses and an iconic part of the city's heritage. But the exceptional skill and courage of our emergency services prevented an even greater tragedy. We need a rapid, thorough investigation with urgent implementation of recommendations. Local businesses, commuters and residents are already feeling the impact, and recovery must be a shared priority. Will the Prime Minister join me in thanking our emergency services and supporting efforts to rebuild this vital part of Glasgow.
Can I thank him for raising this devastating incident for Glasgow? My thoughts, and I'm sure everybody's thoughts, are with those who've seen their businesses and their livelihoods destroyed. Can I thank the emergency services who responded so quickly to the situation? And the people of Glasgow have seen far too many historic buildings suffer terrible fires over the last few years. And that's why we're investing to protect heritage buildings in England. But we'll keep a careful eye on the situation that he arises.
Stephen Gatlin.
Mr Speaker, yesterday in the Welsh Senate, a secret Whitehall memo was called out by its members that showed this government's attitude to devolution, a muscular unionism that Boris Johnson would have been proud of. So can I ask the Prime Minister, when Scottish and Welsh voters go to the polls, will he respect that decision? And furthermore, what is it about those elections that so seems to terrify him at the moment?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, I'm not going to make any apologies for spending more money in Scotland or in Wales to improve people's lives. There's been record investment under this government into Scotland. The question is, where's the money gone, John?
Well, you know, your government has been in power. Your government, you know, the Welsh government, Labour government, have been in power there for quite a long time now. And what have they been doing in all that time? You know, let's ask that question. You know, you keep talking about record investment. What have they been doing in Wales? Why do you think, Keir Starmer, yes, so many people in Wales are finally giving up on a Welsh Labour government? Why do you think that?
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Last week, members from across this House and the other place felt compelled to write to Joe Boydell, the Chief Executive of Travelodge, following reports that in 2022, a man was given a key card and the room number of a woman staying alone in one of their hotels by staff, entered her room and sexually assaulted her. Most alarmingly, statements made by Travelodge implied that staff had acted fully in line with their security and safety protocols and within industry standards. Will the Prime Minister join me in urging Ms Boydell to take us up on our invitation to meet with all interested members of this House and the other place to outline what action Travelodge are urgently taking to meet their duty to safeguard women staying in their hotels?
Well said.
Can I thank her for raising this absolutely shocking case and for talking to me last night about the details of it. My thoughts are with the victim, who had a right to be safe and who has failed in the most appalling way. Travelodge must take serious action to ensure such an appalling incident can never happen again. I'm concerned at reports that they haven't met members of Parliament. They should do so, and I should add that the Safeguarding Minister wants to meet them as well, and they should do that as well.
Vicky Slade.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. 2 weeks ago, it was confirmed that no extra time will be provided in the other place to allow the assisted dying bill to complete its course. If this blocks the will of this democratically elected House, it will be a travesty for democracy and, more importantly, a tragedy for all those who are relying on it and have waited so long, not least my own dad. Will he act now to prevent the dismissal of the views of 76% of the public, especially as other parts of our country approve it, and so secure a real legacy for social policy in this Parliament?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank her for raising this? And I know there are strong views, and I acknowledge her personal connection in relation to this, which shows how serious the issues are. It is a matter of conscience. It's for Parliament to decide the passage of the legislation and any changes. Scrutiny is a matter for the other place. We have a responsibility to make sure any legislation is workable, effective and enforceable.
That could...
The Lords want to stop it. The Lords want to stop the assisting dying bill.
Please, Prime Minister's question.
Those fucking Lords they don't want this bill to pass. And I'm not going to bullshit you guys. Yeah, before we go, yeah. I wasn't in favour of this bill initially. I initially was, and then he made changes that I wasn't happy to. And I wasn't in favour of the changes. But I still back this bill because I believe in people's right to die when they're on death's bed and they cannot be saved. There are old fucks sitting in that House of Lords who have no connection whatsoever to the real world. So many of them. So many of them. it just boils my blood. As for this show, guys, as for Prime Minister's questions, Kemi Badenoch will look like an absolute moron. I thought Ed Davies' questions were very good, very humbling. We had some very good questions from MPs from different sides of the House, I will say. There were one or two times Keir Starmer did not help himself there, but I will say that Kemi Badenoch should hang herself in disgrace for trying to justify or try to claim that she didn't say what she did. Well, we know what she said. And you know, you know, I'm not a fan of Keir Starmer, and I'm not a fan of this Labour government, as I have to stress many, many times. But I thought he handled himself pretty well today, all things considered. I thought that was a very informal Prime Minister's questions there, with some very, very serious issues, and rightfully so. Some serious answers need to be had there. So, guys, I just want to remind people before I go, I will be live tonight at 8 o'clock for Reganelite's Watch Along. If you can join me for that, feel free to do so. If you can't, I'll be back live again tomorrow for another live stream at 11 a.m. for another Good Morning show. So if you can join me for either one of those programs, that'd be greatly appreciated. But I'm off now, guys. So thank you guys all for coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you for those who gave super chats and gifted memberships today for this show. I really, really appreciate it. If you can, on your way out, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. You can check out links to other social medias of mine in the description as well, considering joining our free Discord community as well. So thank you all again so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.